Shalom, family. This is me, Trayvon Jones, Conscious Talk Channel. Trayvon Jones, Conscious Talk Channel. I'd like to talk to you, my people. Thank you for coming in and joining me. Family, I just wanted to talk with you for a moment. And I want to talk to you about an incident in history that happened to us. But before I get started, I need you guys to do me a favor. I need you guys to like, share, and subscribe this. If you're not subscribed to me, press that subscribe button and leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what's going on. But this is the Battle of Bamber Bridge. And this is just a moment in history that happened to us so-called U.S. history. Just a lot of situations this year alone. Just even during the pandemic, things that we've been going through, we've been having to deal with, and to have to try to get our lives back on track, basically. You know what I'm saying? Because, we've been, having to deal with this whole pandemic situation. So it's we some of us are just, trying to basically, get back on track. We're trying to basically get ourselves back together. But it's very difficult for some of us. But others, like such as myself, who has been working during this whole pandemic, and I've been, basically okay. Still having to deal with racial problems, still having to deal with discrimination, things of that nature on the job, and and all that type of situation. We have to deal with these type of things as people of color. We have to deal with these type of things, but these are things that I believe that we have to discuss. We have to talk about, because sometimes we get lost in a loop. Just listening to this whole, Rittenhouse situation and how people really feel and what they really think. Social media has opened up, just a whole nother level of how people really feel, and they are able to get, on national, internet and express how they feel. It has opened up another level of just being able to express yourself. But people are telling you how they really feel. And they're telling you that they agree with Rittenhouse, that this man went down and actually started shooting people. Now, they weren't black people that he murdered and killed, but the point is, he went down and he knew that this was a Black Lives Matter event, and then his ass went down there to basically shoot some black people. That's what his ass went down there to do. He went down there to go shoot some black people. And we know it. You know what I'm saying? And to act like, oh, that's not what it was, and it wasn't even black people, and why are black people even upset? Because we know what his intentions were. We know what his ass went down there to do. That's why a lot of black people are upset. I know that's why I'm upset. Because you have a lot of white people and other type of white people, and other type of groups of people who are agreeing with him and saying, oh, he was right. He was supposed to do. Now, I don't know anybody that will go down and risk their lives and shoot and kill people for other people's property. I mean, I don't know anybody that would do that. I don't know anybody that will go, and the excuse that he used. And this is the excuse that a lot of them use. Property, and, they just don't want people, being violent. We all know black people are violent. And this was a Black Lives Matter event. But see, this is them sending a message to themselves and to other people. You don't protect black people. You don't help black people. You don't take your ass to an event that was dedicated to black people and support them in this all lives, Black Lives Matter type of bullshit. When all lives matter, you have people who feel like all lives matter, Black Lives Matter thing. You don't even think about it, don't even support it, stay away from it. You have people who feel that way. And people on the internet are voicing their opinion and telling you how they feel. That this is all about, our country, and we have to save it, and and we have to, gain our territory back, when it was never theirs in the first place. This is coming from a group of people who stole your land, told you that your ass came from Africa. They just misplaced you altogether. They didn't put you somewhere else. Now your people been here before their asses even stepped on this soil, raping and robbing and killing. You were here. Your people were here. Your family was here. On what they call America today. We didn't call it that. We didn't call it America. But this is what they call it today. But we were already here. But they tell you that your ass came from Africa. This is what your enemy does to you. This is what your enemy does, and they tell you. And you can have a group of people who support a murderer who got up out of his bed, out of his house, took a gun that was not registered to him, and decided to go and shoot a bunch of people at a Black Lives Matter event. Now, granted, they weren't black, but this is a message. It doesn't matter if they were black or not. And basically, him being acquitted and being able to get off is a message to other black people, that you need to be careful, because now they can shoot and kill you and get off. This is the message that they're giving us. They can shoot, murder, and kill you and get off and be just fine. This is the type of shit that they're doing. This is the kind of shit that they're doing to us, family. Right now. And what they've been doing to us. But see, like a wise person that I listened to said, and I had to really, really think about, what this person was saying, is why would you be upset with the murderer, the person who got away with it, the person who got away with what the system was set up for people that look like him to get away with in the first place? Why would you get upset about that? See, what we should be doing is setting up our own system, our own way of living, our own way of being, our own way of thinking. But we are so entangled in this society and separatism and separating ourselves from one another, men and women, black men and black women separating ourselves from each other. We're so separated and entangled in that, where we don't even pay attention to each other. We don't even pay attention to one another. This is the problem. This is the problem. We're so set up in this society where we feel like, oh, well, we can just continue to put our men on child support, continue to dog our women out, and do all these horrible things, and not take responsibility and do what we're supposed to be doing, and, and coming back to what we are and who we are. Excuse me. And coming back to who we are. That's what we need to be doing. And coming back to families and being family oriented. This is what we need to be doing. But the people that do the family oriented type of things end up dead, murdered, killed. See, we just had a rapper who died, and was murdered and killed. God rest his soul. He was a family man. Rapper, I can't think of his name at the moment, because I didn't follow him. But we all know the rapper who just passed away. was murdered and killed. And it's a shame because, when I researched him, I said, okay, this man was a family man. He had children. He was an actual family man, and he was murdered and killed. And it's sad, and it's really a shame. It really is, because we need more of that. But you have to understand, during the time of slavery, and when we were, just really just really just being attacked, even though we're being attacked now, we had to deal with these type of things. We had to deal with, you know, racism, to the degree that it was just horrific for us. It was just totally horrific for us, because we could just be living our lives, and we could be, owning maybe a store or something like that. But, the white man down the street who owned the store, and even though he treated the black people like crap, he wanted their money. And we were in the way. Even though we treated our customers right, the black people right, well, we were in the way. So before you know it, we're lynched and hung and murdered. And it was justified. So it was all type of people, our people that were being murdered and lynched, unfortunately. It's just a terrible thing. And we have to talk about American history. We got to continue to just bring it up and talk about it. This is something that is, something that we have to continue to talk about within our community. We can never let this go. Although it makes other groups of people uncomfortable, that's okay. If it makes other groups of people uncomfortable, because we're talking about history, that belongs to us, that's okay. That's all right. But I wanted to talk to you about a situation that happened back in the day, and this is just a little history for us. And it's the riot of Bamber Bridge. Now, if you don't know about that, I need you guys to look that up. But this is a nice little history lesson for us at this time. It was the U.S. Armed Forces were segregated until President Harry Truman issued executive orders on July 26, 1948, which desegregated all the military service branches. That segregation during World War II helped create the riot of Bamber Bridge in Great Britain in 1943. When U.S. forces were sent to Britain that year, black soldiers were met with respect and often open arms by the local population. The village of Bamber Bridge, Lancashire, then home to the U.S. Army Air Base 569, was such place. The Quartermaster Truck Regiment, a logistics unit stationed at the base, consisted primarily of black soldiers. The all-white U.S. military police unit was stationed on the north side of the village, and the two units were known to have several skirmishes over race relations. The soldiers were welcomed in local establishments, and this did not sit well with white American soldiers who brought their racist ideals with them from America. When white military police officers insisted that a local pub owner segregate his establishment, can you believe this shit, in a whole different country, and they are going to demand that they segregate the black people and the white people. Even though black people in this particular country get nothing but love. Now they come in here with the hate. Now you get a whole other group of people coming here with the hate and want the people that's showing them love, the black people love, to start hating on them. Wow. When white military police officers insisted that a local pub owner segregate his establishment, the owner replied he would. So he said, all right, cool, I'll go ahead and do it. The owner replied he would do it. However, when the MPs returned the next day, they were met with black only signs at three village pubs, sending a clear message to the MPs that their racism was not welcome. British barmaids told white soldiers to wait their turn when they assumed they would be served before black soldiers. Interesting. Wow. Okay, let me go back to that. It says, however, when the MPS returned the next day, they were met with black only signs at three village pubs, sending a clear message to the MPs that their racism was not welcome. Wow, that's wonderful. British barmaids told white soldiers to wait their turn when they assumed they would be served before black soldiers. Well, good. You know, those barmaids knew what was up. You know what I'm saying? You know, when our black soldiers stepped up in there, you know what I'm saying? They knew what was up, because we've been coming through there. This is wonderful news, you know what I'm saying? But it just shines a light on on history, you know, and American history at that, where even a lot of our singers and entertainers felt like they can go to other places like London and Europe and all these other places, China and receive all type of love, but when they come home to America, they get nothing but hate. Interesting. On the night of June 24th, two MPs, Corporal Roy A. Windsor and PFC Ralph F. Ridgway, entered Ye Old Hob Inn and attempted to arrest Private Eugene Nunn of the 1511, citing him for being improperly dressed and without a pass. The soldiers and the MPs began to argue. Local townsfolk and women from the British Auxiliary Territorial Service sided with the men of the 1511 and demanded that the MPs leave the black soldiers alone. Private Lynn M. Adams of the 1511 advanced on one of the MPs with a bottle, and Corporal Windsor drew his gun. Sergeant William Byrd of the 1511 was able to defuse the situation and finally persuade the MPs to leave. While they were driving away, Private Adams threw a bottle at the Jeep. Wow. But wow, you had people that was, saying, look, leave these black soldiers alone. You know what I'm saying? They come here all the time. We love them. You coming from a whole different area with that racism and hatred, and we're just not into it. We don't want it. Wow. So the MP drove to their base to pick up reinforcements to return to the pub and arrest the black soldiers. Wow. Wait a minute, hold on. I think I skipped a spot. So it says William Byrd of the 1511 was able to defuse the situation and finally persuade the MPs to leave. While they were driving away, Private Adams threw a bottle at the Jeep, and the MPs drove to their base to pick up reinforcements to return to the pub and arrest the black soldiers. They wasn't gonna let it go or leave it alone. As the soldiers of the 1511 walked back to base, they're walking back to base, minding their own business. They were apprehended by the returning MPs. A fight broke out, and the MP Carson W. Bozeman drew his gun and shot Private Adams in the neck. The soldiers of the 1511 returned to their base, and at midnight, armed with rifles and a machine gun truck, arrived at the MP camp in retaliation. The soldiers of the 1511 raided the MP's gun room and armed themselves as the two sides began shooting at each other in the darkness. By 4 o'clock in the morning, the violence ceased. Private William Crossland of the 1511 was killed, and 5 other soldiers were wounded along with 2 MPs. There were 2 trials resulting in 27 out of 32 black soldiers being found guilty of various charges. Most of the sentences were reduced or dismissed. However, because of the overwhelming support of the black troops by the British public in June 2013, an anniversary symposium was held at the University of Central Lancashire that included a screening of the 2009 documentary Chocolate Soldiers from the USA to commemorate the Bamber Bridge riot. But that's wonderful news, that overwhelming support of the black troops by the British public. So that's the reason why it was dismissed or it was reduced, because the British people were assisting, the black soldiers. That's wonderful. And that's wonderful news. But this is things that we need to discuss and talk about in American history that is always forgotten, looked over, because unfortunately, when we talk about our history, family, when we're talking about black history, it's always overlooked. And you have to understand, when we're talking about our history, it also brings up other people's history. And it puts other people in a horrible light and in a bad light because of the atrocities that they have done to us, our people. We have to understand that and think about those type of things. The things that they have done to us, the atrocities that they've done to our men, our women, our children, and what they're continuously doing to us. We can't even have a Black Lives Matter event without a person like Rittenhouse going down there and shooting people. He was going down there to shoot black people. Let's just get that straight. His ass was going down there to shoot black people. But he shot some people and he got off, but that is a clear message. And you have a bunch of people who are supporting this pervert, this bastard. You have a bunch of people that are supporting his ass right now, unfortunately. Supporting him. But what black people need to understand, so-called African American, so-called black people, what we need to understand is that by Rittenhouse getting off, that puts us in a bad light. Because when we're out there protesting, which I think is a total waste of time, we shouldn't even be doing that in the first place. We really should be building. But when we're out there protesting, people like him can come out there and murder us and kill us and get off. This is what we need to be paying attention to. And this is what we need to be focused on. That people like him can just get off scot-free. And you have supporters. If they can turn on their own and say, fuck them, we are supporting, this cave dwelling young bastard, Rittenhouse, we're going to support him. And they're turning on their own. What the hell do you think they're going to do with you? What do you think they're going to do? They're not thinking about you. And they really ain't thinking about you at all. And that's just the truth, the bottom line. And that's just what it is. And we need to understand that. So this is why we need to come back to being self-sufficient, taking care of ourselves, and building our own, not following Umar Johnson's and stupid ass people like him, sending money, and they're not accomplishing a damn thing, not building any damn thing. And we are allowing people like them to just use us and abuse us. We're not trying to deal with shit like that. But honestly, if we can just build even within our communities, we get 10, 15 people just within our communities and start building. Do you know what we can accomplish? We don't have to reach the whole world. We have to get out of that mindset because everybody's in a different mindset. When we start talking about building and separatism, Black people being separate from other groups of people and building within ourselves, you have other groups of people, especially when you're mixed and if you mix with other people, you start wanting to bring them in, and that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem, part of the issue. But when you can just, as individuals, bring people, like-minded individuals that have the mindset that you have, and start bringing them in and saying, look, we're going to build, this is what we're going to do. We're going to build together. This is what we're going to do. And start building. It makes a big difference. We can actually build and get together and start making things happen, little at a time. Because this is what other groups of people do when they come into this country. They get together no matter what their differences are. Because everybody's different. Everybody has different ways of thinking, but they have one thing in common, that they are going to support one another and be together. So when you have that type of unity, but it's time that we come together. It really is, family. And we need to think about it. We need to together. Period and point blank. I need you guys to like, share, and subscribe. Press that thumbs up. Leave a comment in the comment section. And I'll see you all on the next video. Shalom.